What is up, YouTube? This is Cody on The Real Sports Talk, bringing you the post-race video for the Auto Club 400 at Auto Club Speedway. This really wasn't that entertaining of a race if you're not into actually watching the drivers drive around the track and seeing the different things that they decide to do with their cars to try to maximize the speed out of their cars and see what they can get out of it, how they deal with adjustments and communicate that to their crew chiefs. If you're not into that, you're more just into the side-by-side racing and the wrecking, this definitely wasn't a race for you. But I enjoyed it, and I'm sure a lot of fans enjoyed it. And the good thing about these green flag races, even though it didn't reach its conclusion, as I'll get to in a minute, it's something that's very fast-paced. There aren't cautions. They don't have to take time to clean up the track, and that's something that is good, considering how some fans complain about how lengthy the NASCAR races are and how the cautions just drag it out and make it worse than it already is. So, as I said, there was only one yellow flag in the race, which was the final one, I guess you could say, although the red flag did show with the checkers following that. At lap 123, the yellow flag was thrown for rain in turn 3, and the red flag was then thrown on lap 129, and Tony Stewart was the winner. It looked as if he was the fastest car throughout the race. The announcer said it was good that the fastest car won, but I don't really agree with that logic, considering throughout a lot of races, the fastest car throughout the first half of the race is not the fastest car quite often during the second half of the race. As we saw, Kyle Busch was doing very well in the beginning. There were points where Denny Hamlin caught Tony Stewart, and I don't know if that was really the right thing to say for the announcer, saying the fastest car won, because it all depends on conditions, adjustments you make, and the fastest car might have been a guy that made a great adjustment in the last couple pit stops, and he could have been faster than Tony Stewart towards the end of the race. So I don't know if I agree with that logic that the announcers used today, saying that it was a good thing that the fastest car won, although I won't dispute that Tony seemed to be the best car throughout the first 120 laps that we ran. He made some great moves, he's run some very fast lap times, and he did very well today. That's his second race of the season for a guy that's normally a slow starter. So hopefully, for his sake, he doesn't wear it out. He's excited about the start of the season, of course, but hopefully he doesn't wear out his good luck at the beginning of the season here and lose it toward the end. And this was the first rain-shortened race at Fontana, the Auto Club Speedway. And as I said, Tony Stewart doesn't look like he's going into a championship slump here, as some guys do after running really well in seasons. And we see that in a lot of sports, not necessarily here, though, with Tony Stewart doing really well. Haven't seen it with Jimmy Johnson throughout his championship years. He possibly didn't get off to the best starts, but he always picked it up mid-season and got it going. We're not seeing that with Tony Stewart. We're seeing a great start from him, and he's looking very good right now. If he can just keep his equipment and keep smart on the racetrack, he should be good now. He should, as long as he doesn't completely collapse in these final races, he should be locked into the chase with those 2 wins. And even, I'm sure he'll be in the top 12, but I'm just saying, hypothetically, if he does crash and burn here for whatever reason, or has to miss races for whatever reason, he should be locked into the chase here and in good shape. Kyle Busch did lead the most laps, even though Tony Stewart did look to have the dominant car. Kyle Busch, I believe, led 80 laps. Tony Stewart led, obviously, less than he did, because there were only 129 laps in the race. Now, when the yellow flag came out on that last caution, the first caution, there were guys that dove down to pit road. Tony Stewart faked to pit road, but it looked like Hamlin was coming in for real. Kyle Busch dove back onto the track, and Denny Hamlin, it was a planned stop, so he wasn't really fooled by Tony Stewart. But one of the things Hamlin was saying was, you're not going to win the race, obviously, if you stay out and it goes to the checkered flag from the rain, but if you stay off the track, go down pit road, you have a chance of winning the race, because other guys are going to have to pit, they're going to end up being behind you. So Hamlin was going for the win there, and even though it cost him from 3rd to 7th in the point standings, with the points difference from where he was running in 3rd to 11th, I believe he ended up finishing, 11th. That cost him all those positions in the points, which is definitely disappointing for him, but hey, he was going for the win. That's ultimately what you need once you get to the chase. He obviously feels like he's strong enough. He relied on his crew chief, agreed with his crew chief, and the call Darian Grubb made in Tony Stewart's crew chief from last year. and that's something that's good to see, the trust building there. And Jimmy Johnson also stopped on that, and some other guys. I believe Matt Kenseth did as well. Possibly Mark Martin, I don't remember, but all of them. One of the things, as I said, there was going to be a lot of green flag racing in this race. There obviously was. We didn't get to see that 4 and 5 wide racing because on the one restart there was, which was the first green flag being dropped, there wasn't that urgency for guys to go 4 and 5 wide, so we didn't necessarily see all that Fontana has to offer in this race. But we did see, I believe, some good racing. Some guys might say otherwise because they didn't have a lot of side-by-side racing and restarts that would cause that side-by-side racing. But, hey, what you gonna do? And also on that last yellow flag, we had guys that pitted, as I said, and Jimmy Johnson came in, and he ended up actually blowing up as they were doing the pace lap. So he just held onto his position. He would have been screwed if they would have gone back to green flag racing because he would have had to go behind the wall and replace whatever was broken. He believed there was a fuel line that possibly was cut by debris or something of that nature, so he would have had to replace that and get that fixed. But instead of falling way back, he ended up with a 10th place finish because the race was over there. So he got some luck there and did a good job today after those penalties were lifted, kind of get the weight off his shoulders, had a good run. I remember what I was going to say now. Because of those green flag conditions on pit road, you couldn't make those mistakes, as I said in the pre-race video. You had guys making speeding errors and speeding on pit road, either on or off. You had guys leaving stalls with equipment, such as Jeff Gordon. There were like 8 or 9 guys that did have those issues, and that's something that's kind of unacceptable at this level. You got to maintain that professionalism, be consistent, do all the little things that you can. Don't overdo it. That's the simple stuff on pit road. You can't overdo that. Just seems unacceptable to me to make those mistakes. But some people made them, and it cost them on the track. And obviously not too good for Jeff Gordon, who on that final pit stop, or it was under green flag, I believe, did leave his pit stall with the gas can. So that put him back in traffic. I believe he finished like in 26th position, so that's not good for him. Running through the results now, Tony Stewart won the race, Kyle Busch finished 2nd, Dale Earnhardt Jr. continuing a strong season in 3rd, and Kevin Harvick quietly staying in that championship hunt. He's in 2nd position in points. He's not getting any love, it seems like, from the media or anybody. Carl Edwards finished 5th, Martin Truex Jr. finishing 8th, and Kurt Busch coming out with a strong finish in 9th, just like Martin Truex did. Truex maintaining that, silencing some of the doubters there, and the guy that a lot of people thought would actually stay in that top 12 for that chase and remain in this hunt because he's in a contract year is Joey Logano, and he ran okay today. And that 24th place finish Logano got obviously isn't going to cut it for him. He's got to pick it up here running through this contract year, and he knows it. There's some pressure on him. He's got to get it done, and he's just not doing it. As I said, Kurt Busch in 9th with James Finch, Phoenix Racing. Great finish for him, top 10, and he's just going to keep trucking. Jimmy Johnson 10th, Denny Hamlin in 11th, as I said. Mark Martin finishing well in his return to the Michael Waltrip Racing number 55 car, and he finished in 12th. His teammate Clint Boyer, who was very fast in practice, and some people thought could be the guy that could win this race, finished in 14th. Casey Kane getting a respectable finish, finally in 15th. Obviously not what he was looking for in this race. He was my guy to win. He was looking to be more of a late race car as he freed himself up and got the car a little more where he likes it. They went tight and conservative, so he would not have issues controlling the car. But as they say, sometimes loose is fast, and that's how Casey Kane likes it. So he was trying to do that towards the end of the race. They were going to adjust the car to that, and he just didn't get to that point because of the rain. Brad Keselowski, after his woes on pit road, ended up finishing 18th. And as we look forward in the standings, Greg Biffle still in that first position, Kevin Harvick following, Tony Stewart in 4th, with Dale Jr. just ahead of him in 3rd. They both picked up 3 positions this weekend. And Matt Kenseth in 5th. Martin Truex Jr. staying consistent in that 6th position. Denny Hamlin, as I said, could have been in 3rd if he were to stay out on that final yellow flag. And Jimmy Johnson with his points back, getting that solid 10th place finish, up to 8th in the standings. Clint Bowyer staying consistent for Michael Waltrip Racing in 9th. Ryan Newman in 10th, quietly with Stewart Haas. Paul Menard quietly staying in 11th. No one's really talked about him this year. He's running pretty decent. And Carl Edwards creeping his way back into the picture in the 12th position. Joey Logano, as I said, with that poor finish, falls out of the top 12, and we really got to wonder if he's going to recover here. He's got to do it soon if he's going to do that, and it's just something that he's definitely going to have to deal with moving forward. He's going to start having to deal with the contract questions, and he's going to have to pick up the slack for himself. And Keselowski lost 2 positions, but I'm not too worried about him. Obviously had a strong car, raced his way back up to that 18th position. I believe he was a couple laps down at one point. And after Jeff Gordon's poor finish in 26th, he is actually down 2 positions to 25th, and he's obviously got to pick it up as we move forward here toward the chase. I mean, I know it's still early, but he's got to pick up a lot of points, and that's just not boding well for him. With just the misfortunate things that are going on this season. He's had very fast cars. Hopefully that continues for him, and he'll be okay, I think, as we move into the chase, as long as he gets a win or 2 moving toward that. But I guess the same can be said for Kasey Kahne, who was up 4 positions in the 28th position in the point standings this week, who appeared to have a great car in practice, seems to be a track that really suits him. And it's just something that we got to look for moving forward. These guys recovering, Jeff Gordon, Kasey Kahne, 2 guys that people thought could contend for the championship this season, are not really looking too well at this point. But hey, I think they'll be okay moving forward, both of them, as long as they can win a race. That maybe they just need that to get the ball rolling. Jeff Gordon just needs some good luck, stay consistent. I guess the same can be said for Kasey Kahne. Not trying to overdrive the car too much, just taking it easy, possibly like he did this week. Maybe tightening up those cars a little bit, and good things will happen to him. He's a talented race car driver. I believe he's going to do well. He is the youngest driver in the Hendrick stable, I believe, now. So he's kind of the face of the future franchise now for Hendrick. He's going to be that highlight driver as they move forward, as Jeff Gordon retires, Jimmy Johnson gets older, Dale Jr. gets older. Kasey Kahne's going to be the guy they're going to start leaning on, I think. And if it's not within the next couple seasons, eventually, because Kahne is a talented driver, as I said. He's got some dirt track background, knows how to really handle a car. And I guess, speaking of knowing how to handle a car, as we move forward to next week to Martinsville, that's going to be a fun race to watch. Another short track, and I'll see you then.